Today I am going to present a very important topic, which is the respiratory system. Before we start, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever noticed how many times you breathe in a minute? On average, a person breathes around 12 to 20 times per minute, and we do this continuously without even thinking about it. This automatic and essential process is controlled by the respiratory system. The respiratory system is responsible for supplying oxygen to our body and removing carbon dioxide. Oxygen is very important because our cells use it to produce energy, which helps us perform all activities like walking, running, studying, and even sleeping. At the same time, carbon dioxide is a waste gas, and if it stays in our body, it can be harmful. So, the respiratory system helps in removing it efficiently. In this video, I will explain the different organs involved in the respiratory system, how breathing takes place, the process of gas exchange, and the importance of keeping our respiratory system healthy. So, let's begin our journey into understanding how our body breathes and stays alive. Now let's begin with the introduction to the respiratory system. The respiratory system is a group of organs and tissues that work together to help us breathe. It plays a very important role in keeping our body alive and functioning properly. The main function of this system is to take in oxygen from the environment and remove carbon dioxide from the body. Oxygen is required by our cells to produce energy through a process called cellular respiration. This energy is used for all body activities such as movement, growth, and even thinking. On the other hand, carbon dioxide is a waste product formed during energy production. If it is not removed, it can become harmful and disturb the balance of our body. The respiratory system works continuously, even when we are sleeping or not aware of it. It ensures that every cell in our body gets a constant supply of oxygen. So, in simple words, we can say that the respiratory system helps us breathe, provides oxygen to the body, and removes waste gases to keep us healthy and alive. Now let's look at the main organs of the respiratory system. The respiratory system is made up of several organs, and each one has a specific function that helps in the process of breathing. These organs work together as a system to ensure smooth airflow and proper gas exchange. The main organs include the nose, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchi, the lungs, and the alveoli. The process of breathing starts from the nose, where air enters the body. From there, it passes through the pharynx and larynx, then moves down the trachea. The trachea divides into two bronchi, which enter the lungs. Inside the lungs, these bronchi further divide into smaller tubes called bronchioles, which finally lead to tiny air sacs known as alveoli. These alveoli are very important because this is where the actual exchange of gases takes place. Oxygen enters the blood, and carbon dioxide is removed. So, even though these organs are different in structure and function, they all work together in a coordinated way to help us breathe efficiently. Now let's understand the first part of the respiratory system, which is the nose and nasal cavity. The nose is the main entry point for air into our body. Whenever we breathe in, air first enters through the nostrils and then passes into the nasal cavity. Inside the nose, there are tiny hair-like structures called nasal hairs. These hairs play an important role in filtering the air by trapping dust, dirt, and other large particles present in the air. In addition to this, the nasal cavity is lined with a sticky substance called mucus. This mucus traps smaller particles like germs and bacteria, preventing them from entering the lungs. Another important function of the nasal cavity is to warm and moisten the air. The air we breathe from the environment may be too cold or dry, but before it reaches the lungs, it is adjusted to the right temperature and moisture level. This protects the delicate tissues of the lungs from damage. So, the nose and nasal cavity not only allow air to enter but also clean, warm, and prepare the air, making it safe for the rest of the respiratory system. Now let's move to the next part of the respiratory system, which is the pharynx, also known as the throat. The pharynx is a muscular tube that connects the nasal cavity to the larynx and esophagus. It serves as a common pathway for both air and food. When we breathe, air passes from the nasal cavity into the pharynx and then moves towards the larynx. At the same time, when we eat or drink, food passes through the pharynx into the esophagus, which leads to the stomach. This means the pharynx plays a dual role in both the respiratory system and the digestive system. The pharynx is divided into three parts: nasopharynx, upper part, connected to the nose; oropharynx, middle part, behind the mouth; laryngopharynx, lower part, leading to the larynx. Even though it is a simple passage, the pharynx is very important because it ensures that air reaches the correct pathway towards the lungs. So, in short, the pharynx acts as a connecting passage that directs air from the nose to the next part of the respiratory system. Now let's move on to the next important part of the respiratory system, which is the larynx, also known as the voice box. The larynx is located just below the pharynx and above the trachea. It acts as a passage for air to move from the pharynx into the trachea. One of the most important functions of the larynx is sound production. Inside the larynx, there are structures called vocal cords. When air passes through these cords, they vibrate and produce sound. This is how we are able to speak and make different sounds. Another important function of the larynx is protection. It has a flap-like structure called the epiglottis. The epiglottis closes over the opening of the larynx when we swallow food or water. This prevents food from entering the windpipe and ensures that it goes into the esophagus instead. If this mechanism fails, it can cause choking. That's why the larynx plays a very important role in both breathing and protecting our airway. So, in simple words, the larynx helps in breathing, sound production, and also protects the airway during swallowing. Now let's move to the next part of the respiratory system, which is the trachea, also known as the windpipe. The trachea is a long, tube-like structure that connects the larynx to the bronchi. It serves as the main pathway for air to travel to and from the lungs. One important feature of the trachea is that it is supported by C-shaped rings of cartilage. These rings keep the trachea open at all times, so that air can pass through easily without any blockage. The inner lining of the trachea is covered with tiny hair-like structures called cilia and a layer of mucus. The mucus traps dust, germs, and other harmful particles, while the cilia help to move these trapped particles upward towards the throat, where they can be swallowed or expelled. This cleaning mechanism helps keep our lungs safe from infections and damage. At the lower end, the trachea divides into two tubes called bronchi, which carry air into each lung. So, in simple terms, the trachea acts as a strong and flexible air passage that ensures clean air reaches the lungs safely. Now let's move to the next part of the respiratory system, which includes the bronchi and bronchioles. At the lower end of the trachea, it divides into two large tubes called bronchi. One bronchus enters the right lung, and the other enters the left lung. These bronchi act as the main passageways that carry air into each lung. Once inside the lungs, each bronchus further divides into smaller branches called bronchioles. These bronchioles continue to divide into even finer tubes, forming a branching network inside the lungs. This branching structure is very important because it helps to distribute air evenly throughout the entire lung. So, every part of the lung receives oxygen. The walls of the bronchi are supported by cartilage, just like the trachea, which helps keep them open. However, bronchioles have thinner walls and less cartilage, making them more flexible. Bronchioles also have smooth muscles that can expand or contract to control the flow of air. This helps regulate how much air reaches different parts of the lungs. At the end of the bronchioles are tiny air sacs called alveoli, where the actual exchange of gases takes place. So, in simple words, the bronchi and bronchioles act like a branching system that carries and distributes air deep into the lungs efficiently. Now let's talk about the most important organs of the respiratory system, which are the lungs. The lungs are a pair of large, spongy organs located in the chest cavity, on either side of the heart. They are protected by the rib cage, which helps keep them safe from injury. The right lung is slightly larger than the left lung because the left side has space for the heart. The lungs are made up of soft, elastic tissues that allow them to expand and contract during breathing. When we inhale, the lungs expand and fill with air. When we exhale, they contract and push the air out. Inside the lungs, there is a complex network of bronchi, bronchioles, and tiny air sacs called alveoli. These structures increase the surface area of the lungs, making gas exchange more efficient. The main function of the lungs is gas exchange. Oxygen from the air enters the lungs and passes into the blood, while carbon dioxide from the blood moves into the lungs to be exhaled. This process is continuous and happens every second to keep our body supplied with oxygen. So, in simple terms, the lungs are the main organs where breathing and gas exchange take place, helping our body stay alive and active. Now let's move to one of the most important and interesting parts of the respiratory system, which are the alveoli. Alveoli are tiny, balloon-like air sacs present at the ends of the bronchioles inside the lungs. Even though they are very small, they play a very big role in our survival. In fact, each lung contains millions of alveoli, and together they form a huge surface area for gas exchange, almost equal to the size of a tennis court. This large surface area is very important because it allows maximum oxygen to enter the blood in a short time. The structure of alveoli is specially designed for efficient gas exchange. Their walls are extremely thin, only 1 cell thick. This thinness reduces the distance that gases need to travel, making the exchange process very fast. Surrounding each alveolus is a dense network of tiny blood vessels called capillaries. These capillaries carry deoxygenated blood, which means blood that is low in oxygen and high in carbon dioxide. When we inhale, oxygen-rich air reaches the alveoli. Because the concentration of oxygen is higher in the alveoli than in the blood, oxygen moves into the capillaries through the thin walls. This movement happens by a natural process called diffusion. At the same time, carbon dioxide, which is present in higher concentration in the blood, moves into the alveoli. This carbon dioxide is then expelled from the body when we exhale. Another important feature of alveoli is that they are moist inside. This moisture helps gases dissolve easily, which is necessary for diffusion to occur efficiently. Also, alveoli are elastic in nature. This means they can expand when air enters and return to their original shape when air leaves. This elasticity helps maintain smooth breathing. However, if alveoli are damaged, for example due to smoking or pollution, their ability to exchange gases decreases. This can lead to serious breathing problems and diseases. So, to summarize, alveoli are the main sites of gas exchange in the lungs. Their thin walls, large surface area, rich blood supply, and moist environment make them perfectly suited for efficiently exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now let's understand how breathing actually takes place, which is known as the process of breathing or ventilation. Breathing is a continuous process that involves 2 main steps, inhalation and exhalation. This process happens automatically and is controlled by the brain, so we don't have to think about it. First, let's talk about inhalation, which means breathing in. During inhalation, the diaphragm, which is a dome-shaped muscle below the lungs, contracts and moves downward. At the same time, the muscles between the ribs, called intercostal muscles, contract and move the rib cage upward and outward. Because of these movements, the space inside the chest cavity increases. When the space increases, the pressure inside the lungs decreases compared to the outside air. As a result, air rushes into the lungs from the environment. This air is rich in oxygen. Next comes exhalation, which means breathing out. During exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward to its original dome shape. The intercostal muscles also relax, causing the rib cage to move downward and inward. This reduces the space inside the chest cavity and increases the pressure inside the lungs. Due to this increased pressure, air is pushed out of the lungs. This air contains carbon dioxide, which is a waste gas produced by our body. This cycle of inhalation and exhalation continues throughout our life, even when we are sleeping. On average, a person breathes around 12 to 20 times per minute. It is important to understand that breathing is different from respiration. Breathing is the physical movement of air in and out of the lungs, while respiration is the chemical process in cells where oxygen is used to produce energy. So, in simple terms, the process of breathing helps bring oxygen into the body and remove carbon dioxide, ensuring that our body functions properly. Now let's understand the role of one of the most important muscles involved in breathing, which is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a large, dome-shaped muscle located just below the lungs. It separates the chest cavity from the abdominal cavity. Even though it is just a muscle, it plays a major role in the process of breathing. During inhalation, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward, becoming flatter. This movement increases the space inside the chest cavity. As the space increases, the pressure inside the lungs decreases, allowing air to flow into the lungs easily. During exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward, returning to its dome shape. This decreases the space inside the chest cavity and increases the pressure inside the lungs, pushing air out of the lungs. So, the diaphragm works like a pump that helps air move in and out of the lungs. Without its movement, breathing would not be efficient. In addition to normal breathing, the diaphragm also plays a role in actions like coughing, sneezing, laughing, and even talking. If the diaphragm does not function properly due to injury or disease, it can make breathing difficult and may require medical support. So, in simple terms, the diaphragm is the main muscle responsible for breathing, helping the lungs expand and contract smoothly. Now let's understand the most crucial function of the respiratory system, which is the gas exchange process. Gas exchange is the process by which oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide is removed from it. This process mainly takes place in the alveoli of the lungs. When we inhale, oxygen-rich air reaches the alveoli. The concentration of oxygen is higher in the alveoli compared to the blood in the surrounding capillaries. Because of this difference, oxygen moves from the alveoli into the blood through the thin walls. This movement occurs by diffusion, which means gases move from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. At the same time, carbon dioxide, which is present in higher concentration in the blood, moves from the capillaries into the alveoli. This carbon dioxide is then expelled from the body when we exhale. Once oxygen enters the blood, it binds with hemoglobin in red blood cells and is transported to all parts of the body. The cells use this oxygen to produce energy. After energy production, carbon dioxide is formed as a waste product. This carbon dioxide is carried back by the blood to the lungs, where it is removed from the body. This entire process happens continuously and very quickly to ensure that our body always has enough oxygen and does not accumulate harmful carbon dioxide. So, in simple terms, gas exchange is the process where oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide leaves the body, helping maintain life and proper body function. Now let's understand why the respiratory system is so important for our body. The respiratory system is essential for survival because it performs several vital functions that keep our body working properly. The most important function is supplying oxygen to the body. Oxygen is required by every cell to produce energy through cellular respiration. This energy is necessary for all activities such as movement, growth, thinking, and even basic functions like heartbeat and digestion. Another important function is the removal of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a waste gas produced during energy production. If it accumulates in the body, it can become toxic and disturb the internal balance. The respiratory system helps remove this gas efficiently through exhalation. The respiratory system also plays a role in maintaining the pH balance of the blood. By controlling the levels of carbon dioxide, it helps keep the blood neither too acidic nor too basic, which is important for proper functioning of enzymes and cells. In addition to this, the respiratory system helps in producing sound and speech through the larynx or voice box. Without it, communication through speech would not be possible. It also helps in the sense of smell, as the nose contains receptors that detect different odors in the air. So, in simple terms, the respiratory system is important because it provides oxygen, removes waste gases, supports communication, maintains balance in the body, and helps us interact with our environment. Without it, life would not be possible. Now let's look at some common diseases that affect the respiratory system. The respiratory system is very sensitive, and it can be affected by infections, pollution, smoking, and other harmful factors. These diseases can make breathing difficult and reduce the efficiency of the lungs. One common disease is asthma. Asthma is a condition in which the airways become narrow and inflamed, making it difficult for air to pass through. People with asthma may experience shortness of breath, wheezing, and coughing. Another disease is bronchitis. In bronchitis, the lining of the bronchi becomes inflamed, leading to excessive mucus production. This causes coughing and difficulty in breathing. Pneumonia is another serious disease. It is an infection of the lungs in which the alveoli fill with fluid or pus. This reduces the ability of the lungs to exchange gases and can cause fever, chest pain, and breathing problems. Tuberculosis, also known as TB, is a bacterial infection that mainly affects the lungs. It spreads through the air when an infected person coughs or sneezes. TB can cause persistent cough, weight loss, and weakness if not treated properly. These diseases show how important it is to take care of our respiratory system. In simple terms, respiratory diseases affect our ability to breathe properly and can become serious if not treated in time. Now let's discuss how we can keep our respiratory system healthy. Since the respiratory system is essential for life, it is very important to take proper care of it. There are several simple habits that can help maintain healthy lungs and improve breathing. First, we should avoid smoking and exposure to polluted air. Smoking damages the lungs and destroys the alveoli, reducing their ability to exchange gases. Even passive smoking, which means inhaling smoke from others, can be harmful. Second, regular exercise is very important. Physical activities like walking, running, or playing sports help improve lung capacity and make the respiratory system more efficient. Exercise also strengthens the muscles involved in breathing. Third, we should maintain a healthy diet. Eating nutritious food supports the overall health of the body, including the lungs. Drinking enough water also helps keep the airways moist and functioning properly. Another important habit is practicing deep breathing exercises. These exercises help expand the lungs fully, improve oxygen intake, and reduce stress. We should also maintain good hygiene, like washing hands regularly and avoiding close contact with people who are sick. This helps prevent infections that can affect the respiratory system. Lastly, avoiding dusty and polluted environments and wearing masks when necessary can protect our lungs from harmful particles. So, in simple terms, by following healthy habits like avoiding pollution, exercising regularly, eating well, and maintaining hygiene, we can keep our respiratory system strong and functioning properly. Now let me conclude my video. The respiratory system is one of the most essential systems in our body, as it helps us breathe and supports life every second. From the moment we are born until the end of our life, this system works continuously without stopping. In this presentation, we learned about the different organs of the respiratory system, such as the nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, lungs, and alveoli, and how each of them plays an important role in the process of breathing. We also understood how breathing occurs through inhalation and exhalation, and how the diaphragm helps in this process. In addition, we learned about the gas exchange process, where oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide is removed from the body. We also discussed the importance of the respiratory system, common diseases that can affect it, and the steps we can take to keep it healthy. All these points show that the respiratory system is not just about breathing, but it is directly connected to energy production, body balance, and overall health. So, we should take proper care of our respiratory system by following healthy habits and avoiding harmful activities. In simple words, a healthy respiratory system means a healthy life. Thank you everyone for listening to my video. I hope you were able to clearly understand how the respiratory system works, the organs involved, and why it is so important for our survival. Breathing is something we do every moment, but we often don't realize how complex and important this process actually is. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you once again. Smile.